The team is getting to him. He's a young guy. So that's part of it. A lot of it, I should say. So it's a lot of pressure on somebody. I mean, look what happened to the Packers tonight. Okay. Their kicker is one of the best kickers in the league. He missed 2, but got 1 blocked. And then their special teams faltered on almost every single freaking snap, every single play.
The special teams rose up this game. The special teams rose up.
And ours did. Ours rose up. So, I mean, it's one of those things that when something gets in you, it's like with Bucker. Okay. Here's a great example. Look what Bucker went through with extra points.
Yeah.
PATs. He missed 6 1 year, I believe. Last year, I think
every other week he was missing an extra point.
Exactly.
Missing a field goal.
Now I think he's number 1 this year. I think he's finally number 1 in consecutive kicks or field goals in a row, or I guess field goal percentages anyway, and extra point percentages. I think he's only missed 1 this year. So it's something that people go through and then it goes away. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you can't have a bunch of people ripping you apart over it every single day, day in and day out. I mean, it's just, that's what sucks about social media. The guy goes on there and says, man, I had a great day. And then you suck. You're trash. Shows a picture of his kid. She's ugly. I mean,
people do that stuff, but it's wrong. It's really
It is wrong. I mean, you just can't do that kind of shit. I used to look at Pat's social media stuff. He says, I can't wait to get back at it. And people say, why? You suck. I mean, it's just dumb. And it's our fan base. People say it's trolls from other fan bases. No, it's not.
These aren't fans, man. These are bandwagon fans who've been here since the 18th season, who have not got to see the Chiefs struggle, really.
Well, that's true, too. But in a lot of aspects, I mean, I looked at our Twitter page, and there's guys, I've been a fan for 40 years. What the hell? It's all about commercials. No, it's not about commercials.
All I'm going to say to that, the game has changed since you've been a fan for 40 years.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of different things that happen, different offenses, different schemes. Players now are able to profit off their image and likeness. I mean, there's many different things that go into that.
Yeah, life has changed since Moby Dick was a minnow.
You got to provide with your family. That's what he's doing. So I don't.
Well, that's exactly, and not only that, it's not changed him in any way. Look,
the same dude out there battling. He's just dealing with it.
These guys did movies back in the day, bro. Do you know that shit?
No,
do you know what I'm saying? Fucking guys did movies back in the day. Mike Ditka used to go and do beer commercials and smoke. Guys used to sit in bars and do fucking stupid ass. There was one commercial, I can't remember what beer it was, where a buffalo would run through the fucking bar and tear the bar down while they were sitting there drinking and smoking. And these are football players. And these guys would do the commercial and go play on Sunday. It's no different. The difference is that now they get paid a hell of a lot more money to do it. And they act like they go film for 9 months straight. They go do a fucking commercial and come home. They're there for 2 days. It's not like they're there for weeks on end. They're there for a day or two. So it's not stupid ass social. I mean, it's not endorsements that's causing him to have a problem. Michael Jordan did more endorsements than anybody. He was still great until he finally just couldn't do it anymore. So it's not that. He's going through a slump and he's going through some other shit. So leave him alone. Let the man just get through his stuff.
So what do you think should happen when it's moving forward with Hardman? Do you think what are they gonna do with him?
My opinion is they're probably gonna keep him
open passes. I don't know really what's going on there. I don't want to be mean. I'm not trying to be critical, but
I know
there was a couple players I'm like, man, you gotta catch that, or come on, man, you can't muff the punt.
I know.
And I know I'm not out there, and I understand he's gone through a lot because people expect him to be the number 2 receiver, saying, oh, he's supposed to be this guy. Like, no, he even tweeted it. He said, I'm not the number 2 option. If you guys really think about it, it's Kelsey 1A and Hill 1B. Those are the number 1 and number 1 options.
Yeah.
I'm like 3rd or 4th on the list, if anything. So
yeah, I think for the most part, really what I really believe is that they're probably going to work with him and keep him until, if he can't get it next year, then it may be it. But I think, in my opinion, I did hear at one point that there was some trade talks going on about him. I know there was about Robinson at one point. But I got a weird feeling they may keep him 1 more year. I could be wrong.
Another year?
No.
Oh, I'm about to say. We need to get someone else moving the process.
No, I think it's going to be and look, when it comes to Hardman, he's I think they know just as well as anybody else that understands what he had prior to now, is that if he has another threat on the field when he's out there, another big threat like Sammy was, he shines. And that's with any other wide receiver. If you look at some of the greatest wide receiver tandems in the league, the reason they're great is because of who they have around them. It's not because just they're great. You know, I mean, Jerry Rice had great wide receivers around him as well. He had a great, you know, he had Clark and he had all these other great tight ends and wide receivers around him. So, and running backs for that matter. But it's all gonna, it's just progression. And I think they see that in him. You know, I'm hoping they do. And from what I heard, they do. So if they see it in him and they want to keep him around, that's what they're going to do. I think Robinson, this is his last hurrah with us this year.
I believe so too.
I will tell you this, that there was a reason why he was out there 77% of the snaps in the Giants game.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that didn't work out very well for them, but there was a reason why he was there. So it wasn't to get him practicing. With that being said,
I think the fans who understand know what you're talking about without saying it.
Yeah. So with Hardman, it's just difficult because, you know, it's like saying CEH. Okay, everybody knows Gore's really good. I had one of my people that I talked to tell me that they thought that CEH may not be here next year. We're not going to give up on a first round draft pick.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you got to at least keep it through the end of the 4 years.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think if anything, now look, don't get me wrong. Do I think he can move backwards? Yeah.
Well,
I absolutely do.
Runners, and yeah, we kind of got them with Gore.
Well, Gore's been great. And so, and honestly, Darrell Williams has been good. McKinnon's been actually pretty good. Yeah. So
McKinnon can catch out the backfield.
Exactly. So, you know, you got to have somebody that, one, is not injury prone, two, can step up to the plate, and three, can be very versatile. And you got
been hurt pretty seriously with leg injuries the past couple of years. Now, granted, the defenses have literally tried to fold his legs.
Yeah, they have.
So
yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of changes next year, but this year, moving forward, I think we're going to see us continually get better and better as the year goes on. Our defense is going to end up, in my opinion, I think we're going to have a probably top 10, top 15 defense by the, you know,
I think we're moving to that spot. I agree.
Yeah. So, and for everybody that keeps slamming Tyrann Mathieu, you guys are just going to push him out the door, just like you're going to push everybody else out the door if you keep doing it. So,
do you think the Sorensen anger is warranted towards him, or it should be directed towards Spags?
Well, I don't think it should be so much as towards him as it. Well, here I can say it could be a kind of a twofold thing. Sorensen knows what he's good and what he's bad at. He's been in the league 9 years. I think this is 8 or 9 years for him. 8 years. So
yeah, I think you're about right. Yeah,
8 years. So he knows what his abilities are. Okay. So if he goes out into a position, regardless, I mean, I understand the whole competitive nature of things, but in the same aspect, if you know that you've been burned numerous times, and your coach says, hey, go out there and play man in red zone. I know you just gave up 2 touchdowns 2 weeks in a row, but go ahead and do that anyway. I would probably say, kind of like what Thornhill said, maybe you ought to put somebody else in that spot and let me go ahead and do what I've been doing that I've been good at and blitz up the middle.
Yeah.
You know, so, but again, I would have again put that on Spags as well, because Spags for some reason has a love for that guy that I guess he wants him to. Here's another thing I know about Spags. The more people slam him, the more he's going to try and prove you wrong. So, yeah.
That's only going to hurt the team in the end. I know exactly what you're saying, but it's only going to hurt.
You're exactly right, but that's just how he thinks. So, people that want to sit there and go, well, fuck, he doesn't know what he's doing, he needs to be fired. There's one guy's got his Twitter handle is Fire Spags. So there's not just one. There's a lot of them.
Barber last week said Spags need to be fired too.
He did.
I was kind of like, oh.
And then all of a sudden, our defense just stepped up like none other. So
do we put on the players though, or do we put on the coordinator? Because the players are finally in a position where they can play. I feel like.
Well, I think Bolton, the help.
Holt, Bolton, and Gabe, future right there. That's the future.
Been future. Yeah. I think you could give it a little bit of both. I mean, I think the players stepped up. I think the injury level with Chris Jones went down. He can play the rest of the year. I know he's still hurting, but he can still play. And the addition of Ingram helped a lot. You know, you got Edge, you got Clark that stepped up and has now gotten into his groove. Whether the situation with his, like I said earlier, or he just got back into the groove of things, whatever the case is. I think it's a combination of both things. You know, historically with Spags, his defenses always start off slow. And always about week 8, 9, they always just pick up and they get better and better. Usually, with us especially, we always had an offense that was able to overcome that. This year it hasn't for other reasons. So now the defense has got to pick it up a little bit more. Our offense isn't scoring as much right now. And it'll get back to that. At one point, it'll get back there. It's just going to take a little bit of time. You know, it just doesn't happen overnight. They're progressively getting better. Now you got no turnovers. You just got rid of one problem. You got no balls thrown in the dirt. There's a second problem you got rid of.
That's true. There may be a couple. Yeah, there was really no balls thrown in the dirt.
No, you had a couple thrown away, but none just thrown in the dirt specifically. He had one sack, I think, on him tonight. And that's a damn good defense. Let me tell you something. That's a good defense. That the Packers defense is good. I think they're ranked 10 or 12th right now in the league. So you got to give it to Pat for not throwing, you know, because he went up against some really crappy defenses and he didn't play like himself. So he did step it up tonight against a really good defense.
I would agree. He did.
So it is what it is. There was a lot of positives that came out of this game. It wasn't just negatives. Yeah, we didn't score 33 points, but that's okay. We won the game. We had no turnovers. We had no balls thrown in the dirt, minimal sacks. Pat wouldn't hit as many times. I think he was not, I mean, the Washington game was the worst I'd ever seen him hit in the first half of a game. 12 hits, 2 quarterback sacks, and 2 interceptions in the first half of a game. That's atrocious for him. And that was all him staying in the pocket and waiting way too long. And now he's moving around a lot more. He's getting back into his old game again. Things are kind of maybe clearing up a little bit more on the other side of things. And we'll see what happens. But with that, I don't know what else to say. I just hope the fan base just doesn't trash him. I just hope they would just chill out.
I think he knows.
Well, I hope so.
Moving to the next thing, man. The man of the hour, OBJ. What's going to happen?
Well, everybody's predicting that he's not going to be picked up off waivers because of the money.
And why?
Well, because you're paying $7 million for a guy that, you know, is going to come in for 6 games or 7 games, you know, depending on who picks him up. And then also something that he said. He actually said that if you pick me up off waivers, you're probably not going to like what you get because he doesn't. There's certain teams. He's not going to do anything for teams he doesn't want to play for. So that right there tells, you know, pretty much 85% of the league, 90% of the league, we better not pick him up. Probably more than that, actually. I do know that he did say he wanted to play here. There was a couple of teams that he would like to go to. We were one of them. We were from what I understand, we were the number 1 team he wanted to go to.
Who were the 2 teams?
I heard he actually.
The Packers, right? Probably.
The Packers were one of them. We were one of them, and there was one other team which I heard was the Ravens. But what I did hear about the Ravens was
he doesn't want to block.
No, and he doesn't want.
That's what I think there.
Well, and I also know that with the Ravens, one of the things that would be a detriment to him is that he wants to be able to be thrown to accurately. And well, to a degree, accurately, I guess I should say, and to a little bit more often. And he wouldn't get that with Lamar because Lamar runs way too much and he just wouldn't get it. I think he's looking more, and I don't think he'd feel very comfortable there. He's looking for something that he could showcase and get back into his talent again and maybe get a resurgence in his career. You know, he's still relatively young.
Yeah, he's 28
years old. So, you know, I think after looking back at everything, because I didn't really think that it would have been good, but it'd been a good fit because of the way he presented himself prior, that diva kind of attitude, and the fact that he hadn't been himself since